Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Quarter Hours. On this quarter hour, I think we might meander around a bit, but I thought we might talk about self-sufficiency, which is what I was going to talk about yesterday before having a slight emotional outburst, which is great. I almost forgot about this today. It's closer to midnight than it has been in the past 5 days. I forgot about this, and I'm coming off of just eating about 15 to 20, without exaggeration, oranges, because I suddenly have access to a great many oranges, and I cannot control myself. It's fine, vitamin C is good. So, self-sufficiency. The reason I wanted to talk about it yesterday, or the day before that really, was because I know that I'm this goes back to the lies we tell ourselves. Is my self-sufficiency and intense independence one of the apparently many lies I've told myself? Or is it real, and is it honest to what my mind prefers and what's best for me? So perhaps so much of what we talk about goes back to wanting and recognizing what you want and then acting on it and knowing that you can act on it, and in this case, there's a difference between being self-sufficient and wanting to be alone. I think for a long time I've conflated not needing anyone with not wanting anyone. And perhaps even that first step, of course, not needing anyone, might be a lie in itself. A lie that I've told to protect myself from the kinds of social interactions that early life in childhood taught me that I might have and I might encounter, and I didn't want that anymore, and I didn't want to allow people to put me in that position in terms of emotional vulnerability, and so it's easier, I suppose, it's easier to tell yourself I don't need anyone, and therefore I won't even try. And not only will I not try to connect with other people, I will not allow them to connect with me. So that's one thing. That's telling myself that I don't need anyone. And of course, that's a difficult sort of lie, because it is in part true, and it is in part good. Here again we have the theme of the thing that's hurting you is not actually bad. Not really. Not fully. You can be hurt by good things. You can be hurt by the right thing can cause a wrong result. So there is a good side of not needing anyone, or being extremely quote unquote independent, or self-sufficient. And the good side is the fact that we don't need anyone. Yes, it is good to know who you are in yourself, and yes, it is good to know who you are at the exclusion of others, to not have your identity be too firmly entwined with anyone else, certainly not to the point where you would lose yourself were you to lose that person. So there is a benefit and a positivity and something to be actually desired in that kind of independence and in that kind of clarity of self, which makes it easy to hide behind and makes it easy to label bad behaviors and bad patterns of thought as good. But taking it a step further, a step that I have taken and a step that perhaps not everyone takes, is not only saying I don't want anyone. It's not it's not only saying I don't need anyone, but saying I don't want anyone. So not only am I denying that I need contact with people, I am now also denying that I would ever want that kind of contact. So that not only do I not give others a chance to hurt me, but I don't even give myself the chance to imagine what it would be like if they didn't. And I mean, I so crave friendship that when it feels, the rare times that it feels, or the rare times that it is felt actually equal and actually mutual and actually like a recognition of some similar wavelength that we're both operating on, then I will jump into it and I will be excited by it. But most of the time I just think of, I suppose I just think of people with fear, and I think of interactions with anxiety, and I preempt, less so now than before, but certainly for years and years and years, I would go into every interaction with the thought that those people do not want to interact with me. They do not want to be with me. They do not want to talk to me. They do not want to get to know me. And I don't know how much or how little credit I should give myself here, because perhaps most of that is made up, but I don't think all of it is made up, because I am not blind to social interaction. I am not blind to silent communication and body language and feeling. I think I have a fairly good, perhaps even a heightened and very pinpointed sense of social dynamics and feelings and the energies between different people, because I have been so hyper vigilant about my position within social circles. So part of what I am picking up on is a sort of lack of belonging and a lack of commonality between myself and whoever the other people are around me that I'm engaging in some sort of a engagement with. But the part that's perhaps the lie and the part that is perhaps made up is just sort of blatantly assuming that they don't want anything to do with me, which is probably untrue. Right? Because I would love it if somebody came up to me and started speaking to me and just talking and being friendly. As long as they were sincere. I don't know, I think I wear sincerity very close to my skin. I always operate within sincerity and sort of an openness and a exposure. I don't have many layers of protective skin on me. My layer of protection was physical distance from other people, and that physical distance and mental dissociation from even the want for interactions, that was my thick skin. So perhaps that made unnecessary the need to develop an actual metaphorical thick skin that would sort of allow people's looks or feelings or comments or any sort of in-person feelings I get from them. It would protect me from those in person. I don't think I've developed that. I developed extreme self-sufficiency in place of developing social skills. Well, and am I getting better? Yes, perhaps. I find it very easy to talk and communicate with certain rare people, certain people who are, I suppose, seemingly as open and on the surface of their own sort of sincerity as I am. When I was in high school, I had a period of time where I was very infatuated with and in love with Greta Garbo and her films, and the sort of I want to be alone, which actually she says was I want to be left alone, which is very different. Very different. That difference between wanting to be left alone or let alone and wanting to be alone. I think that's the difference between being with people and feeling absorbed by them and feeling overwhelmed by them, or being with people and still being allowed, encouraged to be you. And so, is that the message of today? Is that the lesson? I want to be left alone, but I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone. How do you know if you don't want to be alone if you always have been? You know? How do I know if I want to not be alone? How do I know if there's something better than this sort of quiet and very protected isolation that I've carved out for myself over the years, intentionally and not? How do I know that what was meant to save me is actually standing in my way? Oh, in any case, I want to be let alone, but I don't want to be alone. Or something like that. Thank you for being with me here on this quarter hour, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night.